What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. This is United versus Everybody. I am your host, Sean, and thank you guys for stopping by tonight. I know that usually I don't do a match reaction video the day of a match, but this week is just getting away from me, y'all. I've got a lot going on tomorrow. I've got clients. I've got other stuff going on. Didn't know when I was going to have time, but I know tonight I have time. So while we're all fresh in our feelings, I thought I'd stop by, do a quick match reaction, get your thoughts on the match, go through some of the key standout players. I think we can all pick at least one player that stood out for us tonight, especially, and just get your thoughts on the match as it unfolded. I'll go through key moments in the match, some stats and everything, a little bit of what Rude's had to say after the match, and kind of building up to his final match on the touchline. So hit that like button. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. We are on the road to 2K subscribers, and you know what that means is it's time for another giveaway soon. This is the shirt giveaway. This is a large. This is a fan version. This is the 2022-2023 home shirt, short sleeve. As you can see, very nice. It is brand new. There's a tag in here somewhere. I'll show it to you so you know I'm not lying. See, not lying. Brand new. This will go to a lucky winner in the giveaway. If you guys have been part of the channel for a while, you know that I do enjoy giveaways because I do enjoy giving back to you and show my appreciation and my thanks for you guys helping the channel grow, for just helping it be what it is, and for just keeping it going, because really it's built on your opinion, as the banner says. I don't like just recording myself talking for the hell of it. I'm here to listen to what you guys have to say. So I know everyone's been jumping around a lot of other videos tonight, a lot of other streams, but get your thoughts in on the match. Hit that like button, subscribe. We're going to dive right in. I want to know your thoughts on the starting 11 tonight, first and foremost. Interesting starting 11, considering the opponent, considering who's been playing, considering, you know, what we need and everything. A lot of youngsters on the bench. There have been a lot of youngsters on the bench now for a few weeks. Mason Mount back in the matchday squad and on the bench. What did you guys think of Xerxes not starting? Were you guys picking Xerxes to get a start this time out or not? I know he hasn't really been doing it, for me at least. I know he needs time, and you guys know how I feel. I on one hand, I give everybody time, and he's probably going to need some time. But on the other hand, my criticisms come from what he does with the ball at his feet. What he's doing with the ball at his feet so far has not been good enough for me. So I don't think it takes time to, you know, pick a shot, to pick a pass, to get a first touch. That to me doesn't take time. That has nothing to do with the league or the club. That's just you with the ball at your feet, stuff that we've all been doing since we were kids. So that's my thoughts on Xerxes. But in any case, Danny B jumping. Danny B, man, he's a machine. He is all over the place, jumping in on channels. He and I just kind of popped over from Rich's United TV. If you guys haven't yet checked that out, go do that. But we are getting involved, and I think we just love talking about United. We love sharing our thoughts, getting each other's thoughts, kind of bouncing ideas off one another. But big up, Danny. Good to see you again, my friend. Keeping up the good work. Got a start tonight for Evans and Lindelof. Was that maybe to give DeLitt and Licha a rest? Was it maybe to get minutes for Evans and Lindelof? What do you guys think on that one? Mazraoui, Dalot started again. We need some fit fullbacks besides these two soon, because they're going to get burned out. They're going to get injured. They're going to pick up knocks. I think that, I know Dalot hasn't been having his greatest season, and he's got a lot of critics, but I do think a lot of it does have to do with the fact that he is playing a ton of minutes. And people are going to say, well, Mazraoui's playing. Mazraoui's better than Dalot. That's just plain and simple. He's one of the best fullbacks in Europe. He's absolutely been one of the best fullbacks in the Premier League since he signed. So I think that has a lot to do with it. I don't think Dalot's just covered himself in glory, still making some of the same mistakes, but that's it. Casemiro and Ugarte started. We had an inkling, remember, earlier in the week when we were doing a preview, that maybe Amad could get a start in this one ahead of either Rashford or Garnacho. We could have tossed a coin to see maybe who would move over for him. In this case, it was Rashford. We'll talk a little bit about how that paid dividends later. And then Anthony back in the matchday squad, which was surprising considering he was stretchered off against Fenerbahce. He was in a boot after that match. For him to come back so quickly was surprising for me. But what are you saying, Danny B? Dalot needs to be dropped to bench. I think Dalot could do with a couple weeks off. I think honestly, Dallo needs to not go on this international break. I think Dallo and a couple of these other players who have been playing a lot, whether that's Eriksson, whether that's Mazraoui, whether that's I think a lot of these players, in my opinion, need to come down with the international break flu and just chill at home. I think a lot of them have been playing a lot of matches. And I think, quite frankly, that I would prefer Amorim to get the international break to work with his squad, to train with them. I don't want him to not see any of these players. So the international break, you guys know my feelings on international breaks, but it's fucking annoying. But yeah, a lot of youngsters on the bench. Amas was on the bench tonight. Fitzgerald, and then Wheatley, of course. I know Amas and Wheatley, I think, played recently, so I think it's one of those things where they're just there for the experience kind of thing. So it kind of feels like that's why Xerxes is here these days. But hey-o, no disrespect. You guys know that I support every player. It is what it is. But I can be critical. We can be critical. So give me thoughts on the first half as I go through some of my notes. I thought the first half wasn't bad, but it wasn't great. Welcome back, Nick. How you doing, pal? Danny B showing him some love. You guys, I love the community. You guys just show the love to each other. Big up. I thought the first half wasn't really great. We didn't look I don't know how to describe it. It just wasn't great. It wasn't like bad. There wasn't anything in the first half that made me like worried. It just wasn't good enough. It was like I was waiting for us to like, okay, let's remember we're in a football match right now. Let's remember that we need some points in Europe. Danny says, thought we were poor in the first. Yeah, the first half wasn't our best half of football. It was just kind of like, it was just not good. It just didn't look like we were trying, didn't look like we were up for it. Again, I wasn't worried. There wasn't any moments in the first half where I was like, uh-oh. I did think a few players were getting away with a lot. I thought Baba Rahman, remember, ex-Chelsea player, I think he probably could have seen a yellow early in the first half after repeatedly just leaving it late on Ahmad. He was leaving it late 2 or 3 times alone in the first half, and I thought he was lucky to get away with a lot of them. I know a lot of people saying we should have had a pen in that first half for, I think it was Baba on Ahmad. I personally don't think it was a pen. I think Baba kind of steps and then their legs, I think his foot is planted before Ahmad's foot is planted, and I think it's just the way it was. I don't think it was a pen. I don't really think Garnacho's was a pen either. I would, if they were the situation reversed, I would not be happy to give away pens like that. I would not be happy about that. So Dallo again, not having his greatest first half. I didn't realize, and maybe I've like seen it, but it's just never jumped out. But Dallo has like a super, super heavy first touch, like a heavy touch in general. I know that his crosses are usually going into Rosette, but like just in general, when he receives a pass, when he's dribbling, his touch is very, very heavy. And I think maybe that is something that's in his head. I don't know, but you guys let me know what you think. But again, he was guilty of allowing Zivkovic time and space on the ball several times in the first half to really cut in and shoot it. Caused us a bit of problems. It caused Onana to have to make a worldy save. So it is what it is. Garnacho, watching him in the first half, for a winger, for a wide player, especially if he's going to want to thrive in this Amorim system, he's really going to have to work on his decision-making and his passing. It took him a while to dial in his passing, and it wasn't really coming off. It was either too much on the ball for Bruno or it was too soft for Dallo at another occasion. It just wasn't really dialing it in for me. Thought Onana had a really good night as far as his distribution concerned. Obviously, we had a clean sheet and he had to make a few good saves, so I thought that was very good. He was playing a lot more tonight, like you're going to see him play in a Ruben Amorim system, especially when we're building out. The keeper's going to come up centrally. The center backs are going to split wide. The fullbacks are going to go up a little bit, and that's kind of how we play. And that's how Amorim is going to play. Obviously, Onana is very good at that. I would like him just to show a little bit more hustle in that, a little bit more energy, but it is what it is. I'm not going to complain too much after we get a clean sheet. I thought Mazraoui and Dallo were getting a little too far forward at times in the first half. It left us a little exposed. It was clear that PAOK, I guess it's pronounced PAOK. I don't understand how it's pronounced PAOK, right? It looks like an acronym, so I'm like pronouncing it PAOK. Are people just taking the PAOK and pronouncing it PAOK? You guys let me know which one is the right one. Danny B says, check out old Truthford channel, done good video on Dallo. I'm afraid to see that, but I'll keep that in mind. PAOK we were kind of playing into their hands in the first half. They were cutting off their passing lanes. They were forcing us to kick it long, which was fine because, like I said, Onana's distribution on the night was actually pretty good. But you see, they were pressing our center backs because they wanted us to give it back to Onana. They wanted us to make a rushed long ball pass, and they were just happy to win those balls, win the second balls, and then try to counterattack with a couple of really good incisive passes, which, to their credit, they were doing. Because we're a little too easy to play through tonight, especially in that first half. And even in the second half, we were pressing, we were getting PAOK into tight areas, but they were just easily getting themselves out of those situations. It was very frustrating to watch. We just weren't very good at kind of applying the pressure in those situations effectively. We just weren't really playing like the home side in the first half, especially. PAOK were definitely the better half. Again, too easy for them to move the ball, too easy for them to get into our half, too easy for them to get into dangerous areas. It was just too easy for them to move the ball, period. It was a little frustrating. We just looked a little disinterested, a little switched off, a little even shook sometimes, but we definitely didn't look like we were on the same page with each other, especially in the final phase of attack. But I did think even in the first half, Amad was arguably our best player in the first half. Obviously one of our better players on the night because of his 2 goals. Definitely showing why he needs to find a spot in the starting 11, why that spot right now is his to lose. It's going to be interesting to see what happens once Amarim shows up. Carrie, welcome to the channel, my friend. Terrible first half. Yeah, it was not a great first half, was it? Nick throwing out the love. Terrible. Big up. Yeah, it was not our best first half by any stretch. Let me look at the stats in that first half while I have you guys here, just to look at like some possession and whatnot, because we were really not great, were we? So first half, we had the most possession, but PAOK had more shots on target. They were just doing a lot better than us in the first half, I feel like. Even though it still says our XG was better, we had some decent chances. It's just we were kind of playing into their hands a little bit. Carrie says Bruno's shocking passing. Yeah, I was not happy with some of Bruno's individual passes. But again, looking at his numbers, they weren't actually that bad. We're going to dive into that a little later on as well. But second half came around. Again, I thought we were a little too slow when we were building out from the back. And I've said that many, many times on this channel. I think that while Onana is good on the ball, Licha is good on the ball, I think that with the defenders we started with tonight in Evans and Lindelof, I don't think we can play that way. It was the big criticism I had under Ten Hag, if you remember last season when we had all those injuries. Why are we trying to play that way with Maguire, with Evans, Lindelof? We can't build out from the back with those defenders. And I think tonight and it was clear, PAOK we're trying to press Lindelof and Evans when they're on the ball. And that was probably the closest I've come to being worried is when those guys are getting pressed, because I just don't trust them in those situations. But everybody showing the love. Lionhearts, welcome, bud. How are you, my friend? Good to see you. Everyone's just showing the love. I dig it. This is why I love you guys on the community. Everyone's just getting love. What we got here? Carrie says, yes, everything is too slow. At 0-0, Onana holding the ball far too long. And see, this is the thing. There were matches, I remember specific matches where he was doing that, or when the opposition would get a shot and he'd collect the ball, and the opportunity for a counterattack is there, but Onana he holds on to it and holds on. I remember a few matches where Ten Hag's on the touchline screaming at Onana, like, release the ball, release the ball. I don't know what's going on with that. I feel like I say it literally every single week, but it is what it is. I think that since under Ruud, I think Ruud knows the benefits of getting balls in the box, either getting on the back post and putting it back across the goal, or getting in the box and having some late runners, because we had a lot of late runs from Casemiro, a lot of late runs from Dallo and whatnot. I think that we overcomplicated things a little too much at time, especially on one of those late chances where Amad just kind of did the dummy, because, again, I think it's one too many things. It's one too many little intricate passes, little intricate touches, and I think that when you do that, it can very easily fall apart, especially when you're trying to build out from the back and you're playing these little trying. We saw it against, I want to say, like Bournemouth last season. The more you do that and the tighter the opposition gets to you, everyone gets a little more under pressure, and sure enough, a sloppy touch or a heavy pass is going to happen, and that's what happens. But Big up, Rich, man. It's a busy night for YouTubers tonight, man. We're all over the gaff. Nick, one more game under Rude. One more. Let's hope it's another 3 points. I would love us just to string 2 wins together. It's been a while since we've seen that. Everybody's showing some love when I go through the chat a little bit. Carry 10 seconds. I counted early. He kept it for it. And at 0-0, it's a little weird sometimes. It does get frustrating. What was that game? Oh, what was the game where it was like the last play of the game? We had like a free kick, and Licha just, instead of putting it into the box, he passes it back to Onana, and the ref blows the whistle. It's like moments like that. Do these players not realize that there's not any time left? That we can actually just, if it's 0-0 going into halftime, you just do something with it. Like, what's it going to kill? So it frustrates me. You guys remember that game, though, I'm talking about? That was one of the most frustrating things ever in recent memory as a United Channel. Everyone is just doing it, getting G-Wolf, hi, everyone, man. I love it. You guys are getting all sorts of involved. So it was clear that we're aiming to put balls in the box, aiming to get numbers in the box, as Ruud likes to do. We remember this from his time at PSV Eindhoven. He likes to get a lot of numbers into the box. It was kind of like how City played under Pep a few years ago, where before Haaland, this was like still Aguero and whatnot, and like when Sterling was there, it was like put a ball in the box and have runners at different levels. So wherever that ball goes, somebody's going to get on the end of it, whether it's a ball to the back post, whether it's one off the edge of the box, someone's there. And that was kind of the game plan, it looked like. It did finally pay off with Amad picking up that beautiful little soft header in the 50th minute, just softly sending that ball back across the face of goal. I don't think he was aiming for goal. I think he was trying to just put it back over the face of goal. But I'm not going to complain. Off the post, goes in. Little guy loves a fucking header in Europe, doesn't he? You remember that backwards header against AC Milan under Oli? Dude loves it. And it's sad that he's the shortest guy in the pitch and he's the one getting on top of that stuff. So I like that. Was that Fenerbahce, Rich? That one with Licha? I was freaking dud my head in, man. I was so pissed about that. Carey says, and the movement off the ball, non-existent. Jog. Yeah, the first half was not great from us. It was like it took a goal for us to start to get excited, and we've seen that before from us, where it takes a goal for us to like, all right, now we're up for it. G Wolf, welcome to the channel, bud. Hope you're well, bro. Are you stoked with the result? I think we're all happy with the result. I love clean sheets more than just the win sometimes. Clean sheets to me are just, it's that extra little hit. It's like I get a little dopamine hit when I get a clean sheet. I love everything it does for me. I love getting those clean sheets. It says a lot, because what it tells you is that everybody's doing what they need to do. I don't like to attribute the clean sheets just to goalkeepers. I'll never understand why the Golden Glove is based on clean sheets. Personally, I think it should be save percentage, shots faced, and everything. I don't get that, but it means we're doing a good job defensively as a team as well. And so, but I love clean sheets. I think that to me is a good indicator of a whole tactic, a whole system really working well on the night, personally. But everybody's got a different opinion. Everybody's doing their thing. Carrie says, what position are we not in Europa League? What are we at now? I think we're like 13th, 15th. I can't remember off the top of my head. I have it in the notes, but we are not there yet. I'm still going through the second half right now. But I will let you know real quick. We were in 15th on 6 points. We are just 3 points out of the top 8 spot. So again, this is one of those things where, just like the league, it's really early. One result, one match day can really make a lot of difference in terms of the table. Even in the Premier League right now, we're not that far off of top 4. But based on what we've seen from the side this season, I don't know how I feel about top 4. We were talking about that a little bit on Rich's channel earlier. G Wolf getting involved. Everybody's showing the love. I appreciate that. You guys big up. Don't forget to like that video and subscribe. Remember, if you guys missed the start of the video, we are doing another giveaway soon, and this is the shirt for the giveaway. It is a large. It is a fan replica of the 22-23 home shirt, brand new. So get involved in the channel. We will be doing that giveaway. We do them a lot. Danny B's been on the receiving end of a giveaway. Nick's been on the receiving end. So it's my way of showing my appreciation to everybody. So, and anyway, Amad was up for it tonight. After, obviously, he probably was, after not playing really since October, after he was fuming on the touchline against Fenerbahce coming on for Antony. And so I like what I saw from Amad from the opening whistle tonight. He was just involved all over the place. What I love most about Amad is his ability just to hold on to the ball. And he can dribble, he can carry. His low center of gravity means he can ride challenges really, really well. It keeps him balanced, keeps him upright, the same way you see from like Messi and whatnot. The shorter players have, this is why shorter players play like running back in the NFL, because they're low center of gravity, they stay low to the ground, good center of, good low balance. I love it. I love what Amad brings. I love that he's got that different profile than the typical kind of winger that we have. I think he's going to thrive in Ruben Amorim's system in one of those roles just behind the striker, where he's got a little bit more freedom to get central, but also operate a little wide. That channel is Amad's, like, that's his sweet spot. And I think that he's going to be perfect, tailor-made for Amorim's system in that regard. We did fall asleep a little bit, I thought, later on in the match around the 64th minute. I thought Lindelof got sucked out a little bit, a little ball. Like, I don't know what was going on with PAOK, but they just managed to pass their way out of trouble time and time again. It was doing my head in because we just didn't seem like we had any answers for it. Saw a couple subs come on the 65th minute. And this is what I like from Ruud is making subs. Obviously, we were up a goal, and it would be very easy, I think. And I think under Ten Hag, you still would have seen, like, we're up a goal. I don't think Ten Hag would have wanted to make subs. I don't think Ten Hag would have felt comfortable. And I didn't even feel super comfortable making 1-0. So it says a lot that Ruud's going to go ahead and make changes. He's going to make them at a good time in the match. And I think while the subs didn't necessarily have a really, really big impact, although I think Eriksen did play a nice little ball later on, obviously, it got to the Amad, who then had a lot of work to do, but he coming up with another beautiful goal in the 77th minute. Again, lofted ball from Eriksen. It looked like the play had broken down, but Amad, again, low center of gravity, good balance, showed some strength, fights for that chance, carries it into the edge of the box, and puts in a screamer of a goal. Just beautiful, beautiful goal. He showed strength. He showed tenacity. He showed technique. He's got that in his locker for sure. It's a crime that Amad hasn't been playing more, in my opinion, because this is what he can bring. What he did today, he does every single time he plays. And it's a lot more than some of the other wide players that we've had. Let me get caught up here on the chat and see how everyone's doing here. PAOK fans drowned out the United fans up until Amad's goal. Yeah, I made a note of that in my notes. It kind of reminded me of when I was there for the Galatasaray match in the Champions League last season. Like, they brought it. They brought the noise. There were a ton of them. All I heard the whole time was the PAOK fans singing. And hey, you know what? Big up. You got to have nothing but respect for traveling fans to support their team and do that for 90 minutes. They came, they put in a good showing. Thought they were definitely the better team in the first half, and created a little. They were very good on the ball too, I thought. So this win jumps us to 15th on 6 points with a positive 2 goal differential. You guys, we have a positive goal differential in a competition this year, if you can believe it. That we are just 3 points off of 8th, and 8th is that cutoff for the automatic qualifying spot for the next round. Again, and we kept a clean sheet, and you guys know I like that. So thought it was really good to see us step it up in the second half, see out the game. It was good to see the subs made at a decent time, like I said, mostly because it was just good to see some of these key players get a rest. And then, like G Wolf says, fair play to the traveling PAOK fans. They were singing throughout the entire match. It was a really good atmosphere. RSV, welcome back, my friend. Says, hopefully Amorim doesn't constantly select favorites. Well, I don't think Amorim can have any favorites. He didn't sign anybody yet. I think that it's hard for Ten Hag. When you push for a player and the club kind of drops the ball when it comes to Antony, this is your player. So now you're kind of in a situation where you have to play him. You play him and he sucks. You pick the wrong player. If you don't play him, it's why did we spend this money? It's a shit situation. And Ten Hag's talent identification probably is up for questioning, but he shouldn't have had to do as much of that as he had to do. There was a lack of structure. I'm not going to say that's the only reason things didn't go well, but it's definitely a contributing factor because it's been a contributing factor for the last decade, not just in the last couple of years. Oh, I didn't read the last part of your thing. What did you say, bud? Team didn't look so slow and lethargic. Mizraoui and Dallo look class, especially off the ball. Yeah, Mizraoui, I'm going to get to Mizraoui, but I'm developing a little bit of a man crush on Nusser Mizraoui because this dude has been he's like class. Like, I have no other word to describe Noose other than class. Like, boom. Take that Premier League proven bullshit and throw it in the bin, because this dude came in and has just owned this league. Diallo did make one mistake in that second half for switching off as PAOK went through on goal, but Ugarte should have pushed his body forward. Yeah, everybody's gonna make mistakes every now and then. It's not only in football, it's in life. I mean, that's one of the most common things human beings are gonna do. And I've said that a couple times on this channel. There's a reason that pencils have erasers. It's just making mistakes is just part of life. It is what it is. It's what you learn from it that makes the difference. Kerry Maza signing of the season. He might be for me. I'm not gonna lie. He is. I said it on Rich's, and I'm gonna have it in my notes. He might be the best signing we've made since Bruno. And people may not rate Bruno, but you cannot argue that Bruno has been one of our best signings in a very long time. The guy's numbers, his chance creation, his goals when he first got here, like, it's probably Bruno for me, and like Mazraoui is a close second, because good God, what a player. Ashan, welcome, bud. I still miss Sue in Old Trafford. Yeah, I mean, Ronaldo did well in his first season back, right? He got like 18 goals. I think he led the league in the second half of the league that season for goals. I think that Ronaldo's problem was that it wasn't all about Ronaldo. He missed the whole preseason. He thought that it would automatically mean you'd get in the team just because of who he is, and it just wasn't the way. I mean, Casemiro didn't even get into the team right away when he joined, because he joined probably mid-August, and so he still had to go through getting up to speed. And that was another criticism I had of Ten Hag. I don't like the way he did that with, like, we saw it with Ugarte as well. Like, it was very frustrating, but it is what it is. It's a moot point now. United TV says Maz is a great signing, man. Let's look at some standout players. So while we're on Mazraoui, let's talk about Mazraoui. 93% pass accuracy, 83% ground duels won, 5 recoveries, 4 tackles attempted, 4 tackles won, so 100% tackles. 2 passes into the final third, 2 clearances, dribbled past this many times, by the way, and we had the clean sheet. I think Mazraoui, and we're going to go through this a little bit in a future video when we do our current squad and Ruben Amorim's system, who stays, who goes, how do they fit. We'll kind of put together a starting 11 with this 3-4-2-1 formation. I think my positioning for Mazraoui with the current squad might surprise some of you, but we're going to talk a little bit about that in another video. So be sure to come back for that one. Keep a lookout, because we'll also be doing the giveaway for that video as well. Bruno, again, sorry, Bruno, like Mazraoui, best signing since Bruno for me. But on Bruno, he wasn't outstanding on the night, but his numbers are actually good. He created 7 chances, 5 out of 7 successful long balls, 8 passes into the final third, and he got an assist on the night. Some of his passing, some of his decision making didn't come off. I get that, and he always seems to have this one moment in the match where he'll get the ball outside of the box. There's a couple players open, and he just wants to shoot. He did it tonight. He does it every night. It's like Casemiro playing that blind no-look pass into midfield straight to the opposition. He does it every single match. It is what it is. You kind of have to get used to it, but whatever, right? Rich showing the love for the newcomers. Lionheart says, nah, Ronaldo had his time. I would say I miss Scholes. I miss Scholes a lot. Probably one of the best players I've ever seen. And I get into this argument sometimes with some Liverpool fans I know when it comes to like Lampard, Scholes, Gerrard. And you could talk about trophies. You could talk about what they were on the pitch. To me, I think what clinches it for me is what other players have said about Scholes. People like Zidane, people like Xavi. What have they said about Scholes? Scholes is like the only player that Xavi has been like, I want your shirt. Zidane loves Scholes. Scholes, he was like Italian teams back in the early 2000s, back in Serie A's pomp, were trying to sign Scholes. That doesn't happen when you're shit. Scholes is one of the best players of his generation, one of the best players I've ever seen in my life. RSV, would Mazraoui fit in the back 3, or do you think he'll play well as a right wing back? You're going to have to wait and see. You can't open the book of my life and jump straight to the middle, my friend. You're going to have to wait and see on the video, but you are onto something. I'll give you that. Asan says, Ronaldo said a couple days ago, United should give time and chance to Ruud as a coach. That's hit pretty much now look, we're back. Yeah, Ronaldo has said a lot of things in the last couple of years that have kind of pushed me away from Ronaldo for a little bit. It's put a little bit of a black mark on his time at United, in my opinion. But everyone's got their own opinion. It is what it is. Sanchez started in a couple days, a month, maybe. Yeah. United TV at midnight here, so calling it a night. Man, I appreciate you stopping by, man. I really do. Big up Rich, big up United TV. Guys, go check out his channel sometime. He's doing the Lord's work out here. There's nothing wrong with having a bunch of United fan channels. But thanks, Rich, for stopping by, man. Appreciate it. Composed view. I'm all in for Mazraoui as a right center back. When we attack and spread out, he'll be good in that space. United TV says, I watched Scholes live from the Stretford end. It's not close, believe me. Yeah, I imagine, man. Wow. Gerrard and Lampard couldn't control games and dictate tempo nor rhythm, unlike Scholes. Scholes' long-range passing is out of the world. Like it's some players are like, yeah, they can put it into space when you're on a run, or put it, kind of into your stride. Scholes is like, which shoelace do you want this fucking pass in from 70 yards back? That's how good I am. Like, do you want it over your shoulder? Do you want it on your left? Do you which blade of grass do you want this ball to be put on? Because that's where it's going. Like, Scholesy was a heat-seeking missile. Ashton says, United should kick out waste Ten Hag products like Anthony, also Dallo, Rashford. Should give chance to our academy players. I think we're going to see academy players given a chance. It's hard to just bin players off because we are a club. We do need the money. We are skint right now. We are struggling with PSR. We are going to have to try to get money. I think there might be a big signing or a big player sold this summer. Maybe someone like Rashford, because we need the cash. And maybe Rashford doesn't fit, but we're going to see. Lionheart says, for me, the main difference between them is that Scholes had the ability to play his whole career in the PL. Scholes came out of retirement, came back, and won another Premier League. Like, who does that? Who does that, man? United TV says, it's the passing. It's just different level. Scholes the best by far. Night, man. Yeah, appreciate it, man. It is true. He is the best. Good night, man. Our academy players, like Amad. Well, Ahmad's not technically an academy player. Ahmad came from Atalanta. We signed him under Ollie. He was in Atalanta for a little bit. So technically, even Garnacho's not, I wouldn't even classify Garnacho as an academy player because we signed him from Atletico Madrid and he spent a year with the U23s and then we promoted him basically. But I do think that we do have some academy players that could help us save some money and not have to spend. I think we're going to do a video on this soon. I'm going to go through some positions that I think we need to strengthen and some players that I think I would want us to look at because you guys know I do like scouting and whatnot. So we're going to do a video like that technically. RSV wants to know, when did I first attend the United game? I first attended the United game a while ago when they were here. But at Old Trafford, it wasn't until 2 years ago. So it would be Ten Hag's first season. Finally got to a point where I could afford to go fly across the world. But yeah, my buddy Justin and I went to the Real Betis Europa League game, and then we went to the Southampton match a few days later. And then last year I went to the Galatasaray match and the Crystal Palace match. And then this January, in a couple months, Justin and I are going to go back and we're going to go to Brighton and then we're going to go to Southampton. And actually, we're going to head over and see Salford as well. So I do enjoy getting to go, though. I do like it. I do finally have a handle on the tram system. It was very confusing the first time, but once you get used to it, it's a breeze. But have you been, RSV? Let me know. Lionhearts, technically Ahmad is an academy. I think maybe technically. Does it still count as an academy, though, if he came from Atlanta? He played like first team minutes for Atalanta, and then we brought him in. I know we put him in the academy, but does that technically count? Maybe on paper it counts. Like when City try to say they go unbeaten in the Champions League now for however many games, like a couple months ago. Like on paper, maybe, but you didn't win the Champions League last season, so you had to lose at some point. But it is what it is. Okay, sorry. What are you sorry about? Oh, no, you don't have to apologize, man. I could be wrong. I'm just trying to make sense of the rules, but it is what it is. So, again, Bruno, not bad numbers. Eye test, not great, though. What are your thoughts on Dallo? I know some people have some pretty strong thoughts on Dallo. It was kind of a clash of stats versus the eye test for me for Dallo because his numbers were fine. But watching the match, it was very, very frustrating. Again, his touch is heavy. giving Zivkovic a little too much time on space on the ball, like he's done many, many times. We saw it against Brighton, which is what cost us. We saw it against Chelsea last season. We see it time and time again. I don't know why Dalot is too afraid to just get a little closer to a player. And like, if you don't even have to make a challenge, you just get close enough. It's like when a keeper comes out to cut off the angles, just close down the space, and the player doesn't have all that area to just pick a pass. Just I don't understand it, but it is what it is. I thought Garnacho sort of dialed it back a little bit in terms of his selfishness after that last match. Remember, we were all going in pretty heavily on some of his selfish decision making, but I thought he was a little bit more subdued. He's getting a little bit more involved with the build-up and further back on the pitch, rather than just trying to go for goal all the time. He had 9 touches in the box, won all 3 of his ground duels, made 1 tackle. He created 2 chances. Problem is, neither of his crosses were accurate. It'll get there, but this is indicative of the fact that we don't really have wingers. We have inside forwards like Garnacho, like Rashford, who want to cut in and shoot. So the crossing maybe doesn't come as naturally to Garnacho and Rashford because it's just not what they want to do. You look at their crosses, all their crosses look like shots because they're just so used to shooting. So it'll get there. He's only 20. I'm not going to go in too hard on him, but it's good to see him kind of change things up a little bit today and work more on creating and getting involved and getting the ball up the pitch rather than just always looking for goal. I thought Casemiro was excellent again, but he's looked really great this season. He had really good dribbling, really good passing into the final third numbers. He won 6 out of 8 of his duels. He was creating chances on the night. I think he created like 2 chances. So really good night for Casemiro. What are you guys saying? Yeah, Leinhardt says, no, he's not, nor is Garner. Yeah, I don't consider them, whether or not they're legally or on paper academy, I don't know. I just don't know the intricacies of the rules, but I wouldn't consider either of them academy players. Ashan, what do you got to say? Bruno should be in reform, otherwise United should go for his alternative. Yesterday, he provided some shit passes. Højlund was completely out of the game. Yeah, it wasn't, I don't think it was a good game. I'm not saying Højlund was bad. I just think for some reason it just wasn't really working. I think that sometimes with Ruud's system, when you get so many players in and around the box, so many players involved in that area, 1 or 2 of them are going to get lost in all of that muddle. And I think that Højlund sometimes does get a little lost because there's so many players in there trying to do something. But I'm not going to complain after the win, but Højlund's fine. Højlund's still a young player. I think Højlund has really got a really good ceiling. I think he's got a really high ceiling, really good potential. I like his movement. I like the way he's been adding some of the hold-up and link-up play to his all-around game recently, but it'll come. I'm not too worried about it. RSV says, I went to London a few weeks ago. I thought about going to Manchester for a game, but the train tickets were quite expensive because I tried to book a few days in advance and realized it ain't worth it. Yeah, when I was there the first time, we'd thought about maybe taking a trip to London, but trains are long, they're expensive, so we did 2 United games. We shot over to a Salford game in Crewe. We did take a train to Crewe, but it was only like a half-hour train ride and saw Salford. I did see Ryan Giggs and Nicky Butt at that game. Obviously, they were part owners with Salford. They were seated about 5 or 6 rows ahead of me at that game. Giggs is one of my favorite players, if you can't tell. But if you ever are over there, it's worth maybe checking if the schedule lines up to go check out a Salford game. They are pretty fun. Ashan says Garnacho should refrain from a selfish mind. He's young. He'll get better. And I think the more and more that the coaches go in on him, his teammates go in on him, he'll learn. And today I think it showed he was a little more subdued. Casemiro is back, says Ashan. Casemiro had a good match. Gala versus United final. Oh, shit. Galatasaray are not as bad as people think. They keep signing like these like players that, you know, weren't the best, like players like Ziyech, player like Davinson Sanchez, like Icardi. Didn't they get Osimhen too? Like they signed these random players. Like everybody was all over Osimhen 2 years ago, and now he's suddenly at Galatasaray. Like they're not bad. They're stacked with players. Like I think Galatasaray would have been a great place for Casemiro to go. Torreira, I think they got from Arsenal as well. So, and obviously they beat us last year. I was there. It wasn't fun, but it is. The tank is back. Here we go. Yes, Højlund is fine. Let's see the rest. Højlund will be fine. I think he'll do really well in an Amorim system. I think he is very similar to Victor Gyökeres in terms of profile and the style of play. I think that while I do like that he's been adding the hold-up play to his game, I don't think that's the way to get the best out of him. I think Ten Hag relied on him too much to be a hold-up player, and I just don't think that's... Højlund is fast. He's good turning players, playing off the shoulder of defenders. Give him space. When we, under Amorim's system with this 3-4-2-1, I think we're going to see goals come from Højlund. I think you're going to see a lot of goals come from Højlund. He had some opportunities tonight, and with a little better finishing, a little quicker decision-making, his touch got away from him a little bit when he was one-on-one, but I think he was offside anyway, so it is what it is. Asham says United should also sell Maguire. We tried to, but nobody wanted to pay his wages. I don't think Maguire wants to leave United is one of the problems. So, but I think we've got a lot of players who are going to be coming to the end of their contract soon, which we're going to talk about in my video on transfer targets as well, because I do think we're going to see a lot of players leave in this summer, and I think we're going to need to buy at least 4 or 5 players, if I'm honest. RSV, Gala smoke Spurs that should have been 6-2 if Osimhen can finish. Yeah, I did see Spurs lost today. Didn't they get a man sent off as well? This Europa League is shaking up now. I think like I said, Spurs were like near the top, and now they're not. Like it's so tight right now. 1 or 2 results, one given match day can change everything right now. And I think that nothing's off the table yet. I'm still a little skeptical. We made it very hard on ourselves by only getting 3 points from our first 3 matches, but it's not impossible. Is Zaha still there? I don't even know if Zaha's still there. I can't even keep track of all these random players that I can't. Did Zaha go to like Saudi League or something? Oh, Nick says he is. All right, good deal. Ashan says Højlund should work on his finishing. Højlund has good finishing, in my opinion. I think that if you look at his conversion rate from last season, it's top notch. The problem is Højlund is very rarely receiving the ball. Last season, Garnacho and Rashford weren't really finding him very much. Dalot wasn't really finding him very much. And Højlund went in on a couple of them a couple times, so fair play to him. There was one match where the most passes Højlund received last season was from Andre Onana. Like, he was not getting the ball. There was a stat for a time where he was receiving the fewest passes of any striker in the league. But what we've seen from Højlund is that if you get him the ball, odds are he's going to score. And so he'll get there. He's young, more movement, more working with it. I think once our wingers and the people who create the chances get their head up in the final third and find him, things are going to happen for him. But Lionheart says, so weird why it didn't happen for Zaha. And there's some rumors, right? Wasn't there a rumor that he was like dating David Moyes' daughter or something? I don't remember. I don't remember Zaha at United a whole lot. I think I remember him a couple times, but I don't remember a ton from him. Oops. Something just happened. There we go. Even before Spurs were down to 1. What in the F? I have this new laptop, and it's really, really annoying because I'm trying to scroll with 2 fingers, you scroll, but if you do it wrong, it like minimizes everything, and it's very, very frustrating. I'm pretty much satisfied on Ruud's coaching tactics. Yeah, he's only going to get one more match right after this, so I think that what we're seeing from him again, getting numbers forward, getting numbers in the box, and we knew that again. Like I said, I did that video on him last spring, or when he joined us. You guys can go check out that video, just highlighting some of his tactics at PSV and what he was known for. But brings us, as we're going through some stats, it brings us, of course, to Amad. 10 touches in the box for Amad Diallo, 5 dribbles, 5 shots, 4 ball recoveries, 3 tackles, 3 shots on targets, 2 goals, and a partridge in a pear tree. Do I even need to ask who your man of the match was? After the match, Ruud mentioned, so obviously Amad had a little something in his ankle, looked like it went off. Ruud mentioned after the match that he's going to be examined. I think there are some clips going around that Amad said he's fine. Let's hope he's fine for the weekend, but I don't necessarily have a problem with him not playing if he's not quite 100% going into the break. I'd rather just have him chill. Ruud said on Amad, he's been incredible in training. He was never affected by not playing, always training well, staying on the training pitch. Ruud, let's do more. Ruud, let's do more. Is that a slight dig about Ten Hag's comments about Anthony training so well and needing to be rewarded? I know we speculated on that at the time. Is Ruud kind of coming out directly and, firing shots? I don't know. You guys let me know what you think about that. Ruud had more to say on Amad. He says, regarding the training, he says that says a lot about him. He didn't play much, but he kept fighting in training, doing extra work. You see his motivation to win the duel on that second goal. Yeah, he he made that second goal. And I think that is what separates the good attackers from the great ones, is when you can start creating for yourself in situations like that. Um, like I said, at the time, it looked like the play was dead, but he kept fighting. He uses his size, his balance, his low center of gravity to get that ball, make space for himself, and just let loose with a beautiful peach of a shot. Hey, big up, man. You can't do anything more about that. Lionheart says, has Ruud really done anything though? Ruud did really well at PSV when he was there. Ruud's thing is he's being very smart and careful and patient with his career as a coach. He doesn't want to just jump right in, take a huge job like Lampard or Gerrard did. He knows what's going to be best for him. So he worked with PSV's academy, which I think is a great first step. A lot of guys do that. Ten Hag did that at Bayern. Zidane did that at Real Madrid. There's nothing wrong with that. He worked with the Netherlands national team as well. Learned a lot there. Ruud knows who the good managers are, who are the good tactical managers, and he spends a lot of time. So he spent the year at PSV. He wasn't going to get back. He was kind of getting thrown under the bus there, so he left. Took a year off, but he didn't stop working. He went to go hang out at Real Betis with Pellegrini and learn from him. He went to go talk to Ancelotti at Real Madrid. He met with Marcelo Bielsa. All these guys, very tactical coaches. Took a job at United as an assistant, again, because he wants to know, kind of like when players want to know what the best move for them in their career. Ruud thinks that these are the best steps for him in his career. And he'll be managing again, even if he leaves when Amram gets here, even if he stays to the summer, and even if he sees out his contract, he'll get a job. I can easily see him going to the Bundesliga. I think Leverkusen, Dortmund, Stuttgart, if Hunis keeps going well. I think a lot of these teams are going to need new managers sometime soon. I think Ruud could do very well with a lot of those young players. The Bundesliga is very prominent for young players to go to really learn, even when they're on loan. And I think Ruud could do a really good job in that environment. So Ashan says, Dallo, for me, a concern for United. He gave away the ball. Yeah, Dallo has been a concern for a lot of people this season. He's not having his best season. I'm not writing off Dallo yet. He had a really good season last season. He obviously won one of our Player of the Year awards. He's not having a great season right now. I think it'd be unfair to judge his whole United career based on this season, because to me, you can't have it both ways. If you're going to criticize him for sucking at left back, and because that's not where he plays, then we can't really judge his career being played out of position, if that makes sense. So I think he's got a lot of work, though, to get back to starting at right back. I don't see him as a left back permanently, though. So if I had to choose between him and Rawi, I don't think it's really a choice, right? RSV says, this may be off topic. Do you normally fly from Detroit to England or from Chicago to New York? Flight tickets anywhere in Europe from here are cheap, especially to London, unlike from Detroit. Yeah, flights are cheap, but if you fly to London and then you got to take an expensive-ass train to Manchester, then it kind of evens out. Usually I'll fly from Detroit to Amsterdam and then Amsterdam to Manchester. That's typically the flight that I take. So it's not that bad. We usually leave here in the evening, get to Manchester mid-morning, and then we'll usually get in day of the late night. So when we get in, the match when we get in is, I think, a Thursday, and then kickoff is 8 local time. So we just kind of ride the adrenaline. We don't even sleep. We just get in, get our shit together, go get food, go straight to Bishop Blaze, drink, eat, do whatever we got to do, go to the match, and then we crash hard the night of. So Ashton says, I'm pretty much positive and excited to see Ruben at Old Trafford. Yeah, I'm excited too, man. Compose V, welcome back, my friend. Osimhen was loaned to Gala because he refused to play for Napoli after he was promised to be sold to a big club this season, but wasn't. The campaign against him in favor of Kavicha soured the pot. Interesting. Yeah, I used to watch a little more Serie A. I haven't watched it a whole lot recently, so I'm saying it's like the French League. I don't watch a ton of French football. I don't get the channels that French football is on. I do get the channel Serie A, but I can only watch so much football in a given weekend. And now with the channel, and sometimes traveling to Loaded Dice Brewery to hang out with the Detroit Red Devils crew. Big up Detroit Red Devils if you can't see the scarf. Just a lot of my day is eaten up now on match days on the weekends. So, and then, I have like a wife and stuff, so we probably want to hang out with her now and then, right? So there is that. So, but that's good to know, Compose You. Thanks for filling me in. Ashan says, PSV is the enemy of Ajax. Ten Hag was in Ajax and Ruud in PSV. For me, this rivalry changed Man United. And maybe it could have. I know Ten Hag chose Ruud, though, to come be his coach, though. So maybe the rivalry is not that deep. So Statman on Amad, as we finish up on Amad here, Statman Dave pointed out that each time Amad's played more than 80 minutes, he's basically had a goal and an assist. But he's only done it 3 times, including tonight this season. But each time he's done it, he's been involved in the goals. So probably a good case, and we've all been screaming it since last season. Amad needs to start more matches, especially given the form of Rashford and Garnacho at times. I think that we saw tonight that things happen when Amad's on the pitch. He offers something different. He's not just running into space. He can work in tight areas. He can keep hold of the ball. He can create space for himself. And I think that that's invaluable as a player. So what else did Ruud have to say on the match? He commented on our inability to pick a pass, basically, which I said earlier. He said, I made a point about the positioning at halftime. These players were leaving their positions and we couldn't find the players we wanted in the dangerous positions. It was better in the second half. We saw fluidity and better use of the ball. And I agree. I thought that we changed things up a little bit in the second half. We tightened it up a little bit. We looked a little better. I do think that we still made it a little too complicated at times. We were trying to be a little too cute, a little too intricate, and it kind of saw a lot of wasted opportunities. But overall, I wasn't too critical of it. But this is our 4th match in the Europa League. We are sitting on 6 points. So what are your thoughts on our chances now? I know we're talking a little bit about where we are on the table. What are your thoughts on our chances in the Europa League? Looking at the table, like I said, we're 15th. It has shaken up a bit. Like I said, though, it is early. So 1 or 2 results could really blow this thing wide open. Spurs were top. Now they're 7th, for instance. And so Lazio sit top now. Ajax are 2nd, Galatasaray are 4th, Frankfurt. But Lazio are the only team who have won all their matches. Everybody else so far is on 10 points down there. A lot of teams haven't lost a match. We haven't lost a match technically, but we've also have 3 draws. So what are you guys' thoughts on our Europa League? How do you see that shaking up? Do you think we're going to qualify? Do you think we're going to have to go to a knockout? Where do you see us finishing after this round? Let me know in the chat. Let me go get caught up on some of these chats here because you guys know I loved everybody to get a voice. Composed view. Furthermore, he signed a ridiculous extension because of that promise, so Napoli would get a favorable deal. Napoli reneged partly due to Conte's insistence. So we're talking about Osimhen again. Yeah, I have no idea. I remember Osimhen was the talk of the town a few seasons ago, and then everything went quiet in the summer. So I have no idea. When I watched him, there were games where I was like, this guy's incredible. Then there were games and I was like, I didn't even know he played. So that's going to happen with a lot of players, but I didn't think he was worth what the prices were that were going around there. RSV says, I do love Ruud, but we need to move on from him, in my opinion. Every manager post-Fergie had a Fergie connection. Moyes, Phil Neville, LBG Giggs, Mourinho Carrick, Ollie Phelan, and Eric Ten Hag Ruud. Yeah. Well, again, Eric Ten Hag is the one who brought him back. It wasn't like Fergie brought him back or anything like that. So Ten Hag picked him out. I think that Ruud has a history at PSV of getting young attackers and developing them a little bit. He did that with Madueke, who is at Chelsea. He did it with Bakayoko. He worked at Xavi Simons, who is at RB Leipzig. I think he's still on loan. Technically, I think Simons still is a PSG player, but he's been on loan pretty much his whole career. But he's one I really like as well. But I do like what Ruud does, his managerial skills. Like, again, go watch the video I did if you want to learn a little bit more about Ruud. Eric Ten Hag, McLaren, yeah. The McLaren thing was interesting, but I think that we were at a time where I think it was all about like who gets the club, who knows United DNA. I think that was a big help. But we've seen it, like Evans came back as well. So let's see what else we got going on. I'm going through my notes here. So you guys, again, let me know where you think we're going to finish in the Europa League. Do you think we're going to qualify? What do you think those top spots are going to look like? Someone's already calling a Galatasaray United final. I think out of all the competitions, I'd like us to get the Europa League. I don't even think we're going to get top 4 in the Premier League, but I've been wrong before. But what do you guys think about this weekend? We're not great at stringing wins together. We haven't been this season. I'm hoping that we can ride this momentum a little bit and maybe put together a good solid run. It's a bummer that, like, say if we won this weekend as well, that we have to immediately turn around and do an international break, because I don't like ruining the momentum. But I think at the same time, given the context and the circumstances, new manager, players needing a break, I hope that a lot of these players stay and they don't go international break. As you guys have said, it will be Ruud's final match in charge before Ruben Amorim's takes over. We're playing Leicester on Sunday morning. We just beat them in the Carabao Cup. I think that was 4-1, if I remember correctly. They all start to blur together after a while. But I did watch that one with Dylan. You guys remember Dylan. He's been on the channel a couple times. Trying to get him back to do this stay, doesn't stay, fit, who doesn't fit video. So you guys do your part. Try to convince and guilt trip and peer pressure Dylan into joining me for that one. I will be back to preview that one, though, on Saturday, I believe. So I think that's Sunday morning. So I'll be back Saturday to preview our Premier League match against Leicester. It is Ruud van Nistelrooy's final match on the touchline as interim manager. Will it be his final match as part of the coaching staff? Remains to be seen. I know he said he wants to stick around. Amorim is bringing like 11,000 coaching staff with him. So we'll see what happens. But in any case, like the video, subscribe to the channel. It does get you involved in these giveaways. We are doing a giveaway on our big video for the international break. Hopefully Dylan will be here to help me with the giveaway. So get involved in the channel. It's your best chance. They are picked at random, but they are legit. You can ask anybody who's won. Danny, Nick, you guys have got your shirt. So leave a like on the video for me. Subscribe to the channel if you weren't able to catch the live. Go ahead and leave a comment. I respond to all comments. We are on the road to 2K. We are getting super, super close. So I appreciate all the love, all the support, all the community getting involved. And thank you guys for stopping by tonight. RSV, Compose View, Nick, Danny, Rich, G Wolf, everybody who's getting involved tonight. Ashan especially. Yep. Casey, is that who it was up here? Lionhearts, of course. Everybody jumping in. I appreciate everybody getting involved. Who was that up here? Way up here. I want to make sure I shout out everybody. Man, Carrie. Carrie, that's the name. Sorry, Carrie. Ashan is back. Well, brother, you are back, but I am out of here. Thank you guys for stopping by. Appreciate all the love. This is United versus Everybody. I am Sean. Ashan says, I love your content from Bangladesh. Big up from Bangladesh, my guy. I appreciate the love, my friend. Thank you for stopping by. Like the video, subscribe if you like what you see. Come back on Saturday. We're going to preview Leicester match, and then obviously we'll be back after that to talk that result. But until then, enjoy the rest of your night. Thank you, everybody, for stopping by. Ashan, I appreciate the love, my friend. It's good to talk. And you guys enjoy your night. I will see you guys on the next one. Later.